There's something financially that until you get this under control, you're always going to be walking on eggshells. This is something that plagues all ages, both people my age, people to get out of high school, and in some cases, people to their mid 50s or 60s. And what is this something exactly? It's a little thing called expenses. And not expenses in themselves, but the lack of control and correct categorization of these expenses. So, what am I talking about? Where are you going with this? Let's get into it. Hello, everyone. This is Elijah with Financial Anatomy, and let me welcome you to another video. This is the place where you can learn how to take control of your financial destiny. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at why people aren't successful financially, and it leads back to they're not managing their expenses right. And for the 10 or 15 people that are going to probably harass me in the comments section saying this is beginner level, why are you covering this? Everyone should know this. I want to ask you something. Exactly where did you start? At some point, whether it be in high school, in college, maybe even in your late 30s, where did you learn basic information when it came to finances? It could have been passed down through the generations. You might have learned it online. You might have literally learned it on YouTube a while back, but somewhere I can pretty much guarantee you didn't learn it was probably school, unless you went to college to become an accountant or you were a business major. They don't teach basic financial education in the school system. So unless you go out and seek that information, guess what? You're probably not going to learn it, which means you're going to be just running in a big quagmire financially until you figure this basic thing out. So you got to go out and seek the information. With that being said, that means that we got to go back to fundamentals when it comes to finances for some people because they're still at that level. So for those of y'all that are very advanced in accounting, I'm asking to have just a little patience so that people can get more of a foundation like you. But if you feel like you are overly sophisticated, feel free to skip this video. So what's the textbook definition of an expense? Well, if you Google it, it literally says the money spent on something, but that's way too broad rather. I would say the definition of an expense is something you spend money on, and there's a fine balance between needing it and wanting it, usually getting closer to the needing it versus wanting it. So if I go to GameStop and pick up a copy of Red Dead Redemption 2, which I did, is that an expense? I mean, come on. I wanted that. I didn't necessarily have to have it, so I wouldn't categorize it as an expense. Meanwhile, when I pay my car note every month, is that an expense? Well, based on my lifestyle, I do need a car, so I would categorize that as an expense. Now, the first thing that you have to get down is you have to value your expenses. A lot of people consider expenses and in particular bills as this just hindrance that holds you back from achieving certain things financially, but that's the wrong way you want to view it. You got two ways to look at this. You can look at it like that and overall be miserable, or you can look at the benefit that the expense is giving you and just appreciate the fact that it's there. You live in a house and you're paying a mortgage. Well, don't you appreciate having somewhere to stay, a warm place to sleep? I mean, if you don't, you wouldn't be paying for it, right? Same goes for your car. Same goes for your car insurance. If you get hit or you hit someone, just having that mental peace of knowing that, hey, insurance is going to handle a lot of this, so I'm going to be okay. Focus on that when looking at expenses, and you'll have a much better time looking at your finances. Now, there are two types of expenses that you got to know about. The first one is what's known as a reoccurring expense. Reoccurring means that it keeps coming up on a reoccurring basis. Note that I didn't necessarily say monthly, even though monthly is a type of reoccurring expense. I said reoccurring because there are expenses that you may have that may not be monthly. They may be quarterly. They may be weekly. Based on the frequency that you do your budgeting on, it may be different. So if you do it on a monthly basis, but you have this reoccurring expenses weekly, you'll need to add up the reoccurring expenses to match up for that month. Or let's say you have a quarterly expense. That means you need to divide that by 4 so you can get the monthly expense that it's going to be in your budget. Where people usually falter is they only look at the strictly monthly expenses and they don't look at the other two, or not two, just the other types that are reoccurring. This pops up as these little transactions in your budget that just happen that you didn't plan for, which ends up setting you back from reaching your financial goals, or even worse, making you come up short when it comes to paying your bills. A good example of this is, let's say a gym membership offers a quarterly plan of paying, okay? I know that's a little odd, but just work with me for the sake of example. So every quarter you pay X amount of dollars, we'll just say $300 for this example. You just look at it as, okay, well, when that comes around, I'll deal with it. I do my budget on a monthly basis. When in reality, you should have just took that $300 and divided it up among those months so that you can be budgeting for it. So when it comes, you're good to go. Because let's say if you just deal with it with the month it comes up, well, then the other type of expense that we're going to cover in a minute, that being just random expenses that just pop up, your brakes go out. You got to have them. So extra $400 goes there. Well, all of a sudden, that gym membership that was due at this month, which is $300, oh man, it's a bigger problem because I wasn't budgeting for it. So what is the simple solution to this? Just categorizing your expenses based on reoccurring or random. And when you figure out what type of reoccurring expense it is, you need to do the math to match it up with a monthly budget, because most people do their budget monthly. So if it's a reoccurring expense that's on a weekly basis, multiply times 4. That way you have how much it reflects in the month. If it's on a quarterly basis, you divide it by 4. Whatever the reoccurring basis it is, you need to get what that number is going to be every month and have that money accumulating in your budget, so when it pops up, it's not such a big deal. Then when one of these random expenses just comes out of nowhere, because we all have them, and your son or daughter just might have needed money, they got in financial trouble, and that's $400 out of your budget. Boy, that one doesn't hurt so much if you already are taking care of your reoccurring expenses and you're not letting money just kind of slip out unnoticed. With that being said, that concludes this video on why people just can't get forward financially a lot. It all falls under not getting their earnings to spending ratio under control. In this particular case, it's just not managing your earnings to the point to where you can maintain yourself. But if you found value in this video and information, I would encourage you to download my free ebook, Steal My Blueprint on Finances. I mean, everyone has a blueprint to be successful, and you can spend months or years coming up with your own, or you can just steal mine. I mean, it's quicker, but it's up to you. If you're interested in that, the link is in the description below. And if you like this video, a like and a share is greatly appreciated. And don't forget to subscribe if you're new. That does it for this video. Until the next time, this is Financial Anatomy out. Don't forget to go out there and take control of your financial destiny.